Hello, pharmacy owners. Dr. Lisa Faast here with Diversify RX, and I have an old-time friend. He's much younger than me, so he's not old, but we've known each other for a really long time. He's a great pharmacy owner in the beautiful state of Idaho. Many years ago, I was invited out to his pharmacy and some of his other family, and the place in Idaho is just gorgeous. So if you ever need a trip and need to get away, highly recommend Idaho. But I have Mr. Luke Snell with me. So Luke, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit about your pharmacy, where you're at exactly.
Sure. Yeah. So Haley, Idaho. Beautiful place. Lucky to be here. We've been here now for 10 years. In fact, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary of me owning the pharmacy. So super exciting. It lasted this long. Hope to have many more years. Started 10 years ago. It's been quite a ride the last couple of years. You know, it's been just a crazy ride with this whole pandemic thing. And long journey. It's been good.
Yeah. Well, you're always doing really cool stuff in your pharmacy. I know many years ago, we were focused on compounding, and you did some really great weight loss stuff for your community. And, you're always looking for kind of that next best thing. And I think part of what makes your pharmacy awesome is you do have a really good staff. I remember where they were. And then, recently that actually prompted you to reach out and ask me a question kind of about staff. We all know that there is no crazier time than right now with your staff trying to hire, trying to retain employees. I mean, it is literally the wild, wild west. There's no rules in any way, shape, or form out there. And so you had kind of reached out to a question, and it's a popular question. You're not the only pharmacy owner to kind of like, how do I deal with this? And, I'll kind of summarize the question and you can add to it. But it was basically, hey, I need to hire somebody new. The going rate for a new employee is much higher than any of my current employees. Like, what am I to do? Is that pretty much kind of the dilemma you were in?
Yeah, that was the dilemma. I mean, we went from, 2 months ago and that was probably my fault. It was, I had a conversation with one of my business coaches, and we'll just let him know, man, this is the best my team has ever been. Everything's wonderful. Like our team's just hitting on all cylinders. And then all of a sudden you get a 2 weeks notice here and then another 2 weeks notice, and you're short on staff. And so I put an ad out in the paper. We still do that around here. Put an ad out in the paper, and typically I get at least a dozen responses for such things. And I had 3. I had 2 initially, and then finally a third one trickle in, and each of them wanted more money, significantly more money than I pay any of my current employees. And so, that's when I reached out to you, just simply like, how can I, because these were actually pretty quality candidates. And so it's like, how do we bring these people on board? Because when you find an eagle, you want to, or what appears to be an eagle, you hate to pass up on it. And so I was just trying to get creative, trying to figure out. That's when I reached out to you, and I thought your suggestion was right in line. I guess I'll let you go with what your suggestion was.
Yeah, well, I'll kind of go from memory here because it's pretty much what I've recommended to most. But you're absolutely right. You want to capture those eagles while you can, and this short term kind of pressure cooker situation that we're in that's driving up salaries is not going to last forever. And so what you don't want to do is back yourself into the corner where you hire people and you're like committed to paying a higher wage for forever more. And so my suggestion is hire them at a quote unquote regular rate, regular salary. If your area, maybe that's $15 or $16 an hour for a technician, whatever that going rate is, but then you can add in an hourly bonus that you can actually guarantee for a certain amount of time. So if those employees were looking like, hey, I'm really looking for 22 or $20 or something like that, instead of hiring them at 20, and then now you're kind of locked in because who knows where we're going to be 12 months from now, the wages might go in the completely other direction. And so for this short-term, pandemic era craziness in the hiring market, my suggestion is you hire at the hourly rate that is your quote unquote typical rate. And then you can add in an hourly bonus that you can guarantee for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever that looks like in order to get that employee. And same thing you can do with your current employees. If you want to worry about retaining your current employees. Instead of permanently bumping up their pay, you can keep them at their pay and then just add in a bonus that's an hourly rate. And I personally did this when we were hiring our latest pick at our pharmacy right in the middle of the pandemic, right before they went crazy with hourly rates. But what we did is we hired him in at his hourly rate. We gave him a $5 an hour bonus guaranteed for the first 12 months. So, even if he didn't meet the performance metrics that we were putting out, he was guaranteed that. And that actually allowed us to hire him and bring him on board. And so how did you kind of take that? What did you end up doing in your pharmacy that, thinks that, you might have figured this out for yourself?
Yeah. So that really got my wheels spinning for one, so it was like, okay, that's for sure a solution of how we can kind of make this happen and get through, as you mentioned, just this crazy, it was just super interesting to have, because I've been reading about inflation and this job market's going up, and then to have it hit you just head on, it was pretty interesting. So I felt like that was a reasonable solution. The situation took a turn even for the better. It's like, it turned into an interesting opportunity in that one of the candidates that applied for it was way overqualified, like way overqualified. And it kind of led me down a direction that, or kind of in a fast forward direction of something I was wanting to do already, which is to hire an integrator, a business manager, a CEO, whatever you want to call it. And so this temporary, like, okay, I'm not ready to hire you as a manager right now. That wasn't in my forecast for like this moment, but that was for later in the year. And so like, it's like now, okay, I can hire you at this wage that's the normal wage. I'll give this locked in bonus. And then by the time, this 12 months is up, we'll be able to get going and convert you into a true manager and that sort of thing. So it actually ended up being an amazing opportunity. And I think that's often the case in business, right? You get these crazy circumstances that seems like it's just going to rock your world. But if you can start navigating a little bit, try and keep your mind open and look for those ideas. And there's typically opportunities to come out of that, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I learned long ago from one of my first mentors that when a good employee walks in front of you, you don't let them keep on walking, like you grab them. And so there was plenty of times in my pharmacy ownership career that I hired employees that I probably couldn't afford, probably shouldn't have, from a financial perspective, hired. But man, when you see an eagle walk across, like you grab them, and it's always like you're always looking at it. Who's the weakest link? Who are you trying to replace? What you're trying to do? And I kid you not, I've have 100% success rate when I've hired those amazing employees. They have always paid off because they raise the level of the rest of your staff. You get new, fresh blood in there. You get somebody with some new skills and a different perspective. And next thing you know, they're helping you increase your revenue in this area, and they're decreasing the expenses over here, and everybody's a little more efficient. And, and it's like, it does have a way of working out. And that's where sometimes that leap of faith, I think, as entrepreneurs that we have, really does come to pay off. And they might be gambles, but they're kind of educated, gut backed by experience gambles. So now you've got a technician that will maybe eventually turn into a manager. Did you look at any of your other employees' pay, or are you needing to hire again, or did you kind of change anything else?
Yeah. So I think because of the uniqueness of this was going to be, ultimately, this is going to be a manager position. I didn't feel like I needed to necessarily tweak everybody else. I felt like I could justify, because that was part of it. I didn't want to be unfair to my other employees, but Absolutely. I felt like given this person's, work history and what he brings to the table and what he's going to be converted into, I feel like we can actually kind of keep things going, because I'm already bonusing, putting together extra bonuses, kind of COVID bonuses, if you will, for the other staff. It's not anything that's set in stone like this one, but there's already a lot of that going on that's bumping up their wage already.
Yeah, no, you've always had a really nice structure with your staff, which is good. And for pharmacy owners that don't have that, I think now is the time when you are getting some extra revenue from COVID to share that with your employees and really create that stronger bond with them now, because that's going to dry up at some point. Like I was just talking to another pharmacy owner yesterday. It's like, are you ready for the cliff? Like nobody knows where that cliff is. We all want the cliff to come actually quickly because we want to get over this pandemic, but eventually that revenue is going to dry up. And what are you doing, now to prepare for that? Because There's no revenue stream in pharmacy that I'm aware of that you literally flip a switch and it just comes on. Like, you have to be preparing now for the eventual, something that's down the road. And that does create a good staff. You need a good staff, and you need to retain employees. You need to attract employees. So yeah, I think having a flexible bonus program or variable compensation, whatever you want to call it, that way you're not locked in, and because you can change it, if you want to make it $10 an hour right now, because you really need to, hire somebody and you're in desperate need, maybe in 6 months it's $5, and maybe, next year it's $2, that's, you can change the bonus without changing that underlying payroll. So, well, thank you, Luke. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. Thanks for your great question, because it certainly is something that a lot of pharmacy owners are dealing with. Any other little tidbits you want to share before we let you go?
Well, I have one little tidbit question for you. I'm curious to know, have you hit that 12-month point with the employee that you hired at the $5 an hour bonus?
No, he was hired in April. So we are on the 9-month mark or so.
And what's the plan at that point?
The plan is to really make it more performance-based. We're actually probably going to guarantee a portion of the bonus again, because now pay has gone through the roof than it was last April. And we're actually looking to hire an additional pharmacist as well. So it kind of depends, what that is, but we'll probably make them very similar, but it'll probably have another round of guaranteed, and it might actually go higher than the $5 that we guaranteed last April, because it'll probably be closer to 10 or 12.50 probably. But we've actually started to put in some performance stuff in there. So at least they're getting used to that.
It's tied to something.
Yeah, at least it's tied to something, but we will probably guarantee it for a little while until we get out of this mess. I don't know. At some point we have to get out of it, but I don't know when it'll be.
I keep thinking so too. And you almost feel bad, because it's not that you want it to last forever, because that sounds bad, but
yeah,
if there's opportunities that we would have never dreamed of right now.
You've got to grab it. No, I've always been the early adopter. Most revenue streams only benefit the people who early adopt. And that's usually about 10% of people. And, luckily this one has kind of lasted. Like you said, it's a double-edged sword, because we certainly don't want a pandemic to last just for the sake of it, but people can still jump on the bandwagon now. People are still just starting to COVID test, or just starting point of care testing and that kind of stuff. And so there's still opportunity, obviously for at least the next 6 to 9 months, we're probably still going to be there, but eventually it'll end, and eventually we'll all get back to normal, whatever that new normal looks like. So I'll probably be updating everybody on, what that happens with the pharmacist, because, we are looking to hire additional and what that kind of recontract, even though it's not a contract, kind of that renegotiation looks like. So we're all in this together. And so thank you so much for sharing your experience, Luke. Good luck with your future manager. That's awesome to hear.
Really exciting.
Help you out with a little bit of extra family time, hopefully. So thank you so much. And I can't wait until I get out to Idaho again sometime, because it really is just the most beautiful place, man.
Anytime. All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Luke. Bye-bye.
See ya.